Hey everybody, Mr. Taylor here. I just want to cover a few things about soil because I've really become a soil fanatic over the years because it is an extremely fascinating piece of our environment, and agriculture does its utmost best to always try to protect what we do with our land, and there's only so much of it on this planet. That's the thing. So if you take a look at what we did during the enrichment period, and you take a look at what we're going to recap this week, we have to understand that if I take this clump of soil, we're going to do this in the lab here in just a second, 25% of what I'm holding is air, 25% of this clump of soil is water, and about 45% of it is mineral matter, clay, sand, silt, all those different particles. And remember, sand is the biggest, then silt, and then clay are like little flat sheets. And there's some organic matter as well. Here we have our triangle, our soil triangle, and that's what we're going to try to figure out today in our lab. And this is going to have to sit overnight, so we're going to get her started. So what I did was I grabbed, let's zoom out here a second. Howdy. I have a very, very small little bitty baby food jar. And I'm going to put about half of it filled with soil. I just dug this out of my mom's garden. And I'm going to put just a couple drops, 1, 2, 3 drops of Dawn dish soap in it. And it's fun how soap works. It tries to remove soil particles and grime from surfaces like our hands. And it's going to help all of these little particles separate so you can easily see them. Next, I'm going to pour in water, and I'm going to have to be able to vigorously shake this. So I'm not going to fill it all the way up because I want the water and particles thrusting against the cap. So I'm going to wipe this rim off, get a good seal, and I'm going to shake. Now, if we were in the classroom, I would probably play all kinds of fun songs like, I don't know, different shaking songs. Anything to get, jump around, move, maybe play some UWMS jump around songs. And you can see it's starting to foam. We need to get that soil to really break itself apart. And I'm going to shake, shake, shake. And now, as this settles, the heaviest particles will settle to the bottom. The lightest ones will be on top, and the lightest ones will take plenty of time. I'm going to zoom back down here again. And as this settles, we're going to start seeing the different types of soil particles. So I'm not going to let this shake anymore. It's just going to start settling. And the first particle to settle out will be the sand. Now I want to take a measurement of that. So I'm going to let this sit for about 30 minutes, and we'll come back, we'll measure it, and then we'll let it set some more, and we should be able to see if there's any silt in there. It should be a nice, rich, creamy, dark color. And then if there's any clay, we'll notice that tomorrow, 24 hours from now. And that should be a real light tan color or red on the very top. And then if there are any sources of organic matter, that should be floating on top. It could be floating in the water. It could be settled on top of the clay. And from there, once we have our numbers, we can do some simple math and figure out the percentages of sand, silt, and clay. And that brings us back to our soil triangle. Once we have those percentages, we can easily try to determine if we have just clay, or is it silty clay, or is it silt loam, etc. So one of the things I want you to do this week is to actually do this lab at home. If you got a plastic jar or a glass jar, just don't break anything. You don't need glass shards all over your place of residence. And it's just fun to see what our soil is, and it's different all over our property. When you get a chance, outside the back of our house, it's all clay. And when we dug the well for the house, they said there is 32 feet of clay until it hits sandstone bedrock. Out in the garden, where my grandpa always entered this field, there's a lot of organic matter, as that's where he turned on the manure spreader every time. And so that soil up there is very rich with humus and organic matter. That's why our garden's on that part of the property. And if you go into the woods, there's a ton of leaf litter and forest litter that has composted over time, and it's a very rich soil layer. And if you go across the street from us, there's a whole bunch of sand and gravel dunes within that field. So it's very different, even within 100 yards of our house. And I find that very fascinating, because different plants and structures and how we use the land as humans is dependent upon the type of soil and the quality of soil that we have. So this little lab just helps us do a real quick analysis of sand, silt, and clay relationship in a given amount of sand. So once you let it sit for 24 hours and take your measurements tomorrow, what I would like you to do is take your ruler and measure the total height of the sand, silt, and clay in your jar, and then of each one of them, and we can develop a percent. And from there we can follow the percent lines to figure out what type of soil we have. So give that a shot, and I would like each of you to send me a picture of your sample like this once it's all settled, so we can see the layers. Take a good picture of it and the percentages that you have, and see if you can figure out from the triangle what type of soil you currently have from that spot that you dug the sample. If you have any questions, you can send me an email, you can schedule a Zoom meeting, or use my professional Google Voice phone number, whichever you need to do to help you be successful. Thank you very much, and stay tuned for part 2.